Persistent fatigue after meals is one of the most subtle yet telling signs that insulin may be chronically elevated. Insulin is often thought of simply as a hormone that lowers blood sugar, but its role in energy management is far more complex. When you eat, insulin directs glucose into cells, signaling the body to store energy for future use. Normally, this system allows blood sugar to rise and fall in a controlled rhythm, providing steady energy throughout the day. However, when insulin levels remain high for prolonged periods, this rhythm is disrupted. Instead of circulating freely to fuel muscles and organs, glucose is quickly sequestered into fat storage, leaving the body paradoxically energy depleted. This is why many people feel drained after meals, even when they have consumed adequate calories. The fatigue is not laziness or a lack of motivation. It is the body signaling that energy is trapped, unavailable for immediate use. Over time, this pattern trains the nervous system to expect low energy, and the body responds with slower metabolism, a sense of heaviness, and difficulty sustaining mental focus. Scientific research has shown that chronic hyperinsulinemia can interfere with mitochondrial function, the tiny energy generators inside cells, further compounding fatigue. Meals that are high in carbohydrates or sugar amplify this effect, creating repeated cycles of energy highs and lows. The brain perceives these dips as signals of hunger, often triggering cravings for quick carbohydrates, which then provoke another insulin spike. By paying attention to post-meal tiredness as a warning sign, individuals can better understand how their metabolism is functioning. It highlights the importance of stabilizing insulin through dietary choices, balanced macronutrients, and mindful eating patterns. Fatigue, in this sense, becomes a crucial form of communication from the body, encouraging reflection and intentional action to restore energy balance and overall metabolic health. Constant hunger and intense cravings are often dismissed as a lack of willpower, but from a physiological perspective, they are one of the clearest signals that insulin may be chronically elevated. Insulin's primary role is to help the body store glucose in cells for energy, but when cells become resistant to its signal, the process becomes inefficient. Despite high levels of insulin circulating in the blood, the cells do not take up glucose as effectively as they should. As a result, the brain senses a shortage of available energy and interprets it as hunger. This creates a paradox where the body is overloaded with nutrients, yet the signals of energy deficiency persist. The experience of never feeling fully satisfied, constantly reaching for snacks, or craving sugar and refined carbohydrates is therefore not a failure of self-control, but a biological response to insulin resistance. Over time, repeated spikes in insulin reinforce this cycle. Each carbohydrate-rich meal triggers a surge of insulin, which temporarily lowers blood sugar levels too sharply, prompting renewed hunger within a short period. The nervous system also adapts to these fluctuations, strengthening the association between stress, emotion, and food cravings, making it even harder to feel satiated. Scientific studies show that elevated insulin affects appetite-regulating hormones, such as leptin and ghrelin, further compounding the sense of perpetual hunger. By recognizing constant hunger as a signal rather than a problem of discipline, individuals can begin to explore strategies that restore insulin sensitivity. Approaches like balanced meals with protein, fiber, and healthy fats, consistent physical activity, and mindful eating patterns help retrain the body's response to food. Understanding the connection between insulin resistance and cravings empowers people to regain control over their appetite and metabolic health, transforming chronic hunger into actionable insight rather than frustration. Difficulty losing weight, particularly around the abdomen, is often one of the most visible signs that insulin levels may be consistently high. Insulin is not just a blood sugar regulator, it is a master hormone that tells the body where to store energy. When insulin remains elevated, it signals the body to prioritize fat storage, especially in the abdominal region, while simultaneously inhibiting the release of stored fat for energy. This creates a frustrating paradox. Even when calories are controlled and exercise is performed, the body clings to fat rather than burning it efficiently. From a biological standpoint, this is a survival mechanism.
The body interprets persistently high insulin as a signal that energy is abundant but must be preserved for potential scarcity. Over time, fat cells enlarge, metabolism slows slightly, and the distribution of fat shifts toward the midsection, where it is hormonally favored. Chronic hyperinsulinemia also interferes with the hormonal balance that regulates appetite, metabolism, and energy expenditure. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, becomes less effective, while cortisol, a stress hormone, may further encourage fat accumulation in the belly. Abdominal fat is particularly concerning because it is metabolically active, releasing inflammatory molecules and affecting insulin sensitivity even more, creating a feedback loop that is difficult to break. Scientific research consistently shows that reducing insulin levels through dietary adjustments such as lower refined carbohydrate intake, increased protein, and regular physical activity can restore the body's ability to mobilize fat. Recognizing that stubborn belly fat is not a failure of effort, but a signal of hormonal imbalance, allows for a more compassionate and effective approach. By addressing the underlying insulin elevation, individuals can gradually shift their metabolism, reclaim control over fat storage, and experience lasting improvements in both body composition and overall metabolic health. Skin changes, swelling, and mental fog are often overlooked signs that insulin levels may be elevated, yet they reflect profound effects on the body's internal systems. Insulin is a hormone that influences not only glucose storage, but also inflammation, fluid balance, and cellular signaling. When insulin remains chronically high, it can subtly disrupt these processes, leading to visible and cognitive symptoms. Skin may develop areas of thickening, dark patches, or increased oiliness, reflecting the hormone's influence on growth factors and local tissue metabolism. Swelling, particularly in the extremities, can occur because insulin affects sodium retention, altering fluid balance and putting extra stress on small blood vessels. Even minor edema can signal that the body is managing more internal pressure than it should, a warning that often precedes more serious cardiovascular or kidney complications. Cognitive effects, often described as brain fog, are another manifestation of elevated insulin. The brain is highly sensitive to fluctuations in energy supply, and when insulin traps glucose in fat cells or peripheral tissues, the brain may temporarily experience a relative energy shortage. This can result in difficulty concentrating, slower mental processing, or a feeling of mental fatigue. Neuroscience research demonstrates that insulin resistance can impair signaling pathways that influence memory, attention, and executive function, making these subtle cognitive changes early indicators of systemic imbalance. By noticing these signals early, individuals gain the opportunity to restore hormonal balance before more serious complications develop. Simple lifestyle interventions such as stabilizing blood sugar through balanced meals, incorporating regular physical activity, and prioritizing quality sleep can reduce insulin levels and improve tissue function. These changes not only benefit metabolic health, but also alleviate the physical and mental symptoms that signal the body is struggling to maintain equilibrium. Early recognition of high insulin is perhaps the most powerful step toward reclaiming control over health because it allows the body to respond before more serious metabolic complications develop. When insulin is elevated, the body begins a cascade of subtle changes: persistent fatigue, constant hunger, stubborn abdominal fat, skin changes, and mental fog that signal the system is out of balance. These signs are not random. They are communication from the body, urging attention and adjustment. By noticing them, individuals can intervene with strategies that restore insulin sensitivity and improve overall metabolic health. Scientific research shows that even small, consistent changes, such as incorporating balanced meals with protein, fiber, and healthy fats, engaging in regular physical activity, and prioritizing quality sleep, can dramatically influence insulin signaling and cellular responsiveness. The nervous system also plays a role, as mindful movement and stress management improve the body's ability to regulate glucose and hormonal responses. Early action is especially important because insulin resistance is progressive. The longer elevated insulin goes unaddressed, the more the body adapts to the imbalance, making it harder to reverse. Recognizing the signs fosters awareness, enabling individuals to make choices that not only target symptoms but address the root cause. This creates a positive feedback loop. As insulin sensitivity improves, energy levels stabilize, cravings diminish, fat distribution becomes more favorable, and mental clarity returns. The process is gradual and requires patience, but the results are profound. Beyond physical health, early intervention reinforces confidence and self-efficacy, reminding the individual that the body is responsive and capable of recovery. Awareness transforms subtle symptoms into actionable insight, empowering people to restore balance, prevent chronic disease, and support longevity through intentional lifestyle adjustments that honor the body's natural signals and capacities. The body rarely shouts when something is out of balance. More often, it whispers through subtle changes that feel ordinary enough to ignore. High insulin is one of those quiet conditions, not dramatic, not immediate,